Good Saturday morning, sports fans. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. I am Greg Malinchuk in the control room, and Bob Wiltman on the other side of the glass.
I'm sitting. Studio. Am I on? I'm not even on.
You're on.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, but it's so important for me to be able to hear myself talk. No, the fact of the matter is that we've got a lot to kick it off with.
We do.
Like I said, I think we've got our foreign correspondent, Andrea Krieg, joining us
now,
in the second.
Is she calling in from Versailles?
She's not calling in from Versailles.
Pennsylvania.
I think she's calling in North Versailles. Yeah, that's right. She's calling from L.A., Lower Ashtabula.
Okay.
But, no, she'll be calling in, I think, unless something happens to deter her. But we have a lot of things to talk about with the Tour de France, and like I said,
I've got one thing here.
I love it.
A little note from Randy.
I'm listening.
He's saying, "Have a great show."
Yeah, that's nice.
But then he had to add this little thing.
It's a soccer thing,
right?
Yeah.
He says, "Soccer rules, other sports drool." But we will be refuting that during the soccer hour, during the fourth hour of the show.
The fourth hour of the show. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll
that, and then, like I said, we've got soccer, polo, and roller derby all coming at you in hour 6.
That's
so,
right.
No, it's nice that he's decided to go the way of Johnny Cochran and come up with a clever, and it's not that good.
Right.
Come up with something a little better, but then soccer rules, others drool.
Right.
Okay. Okay. No offense to Randy, but keep your day job. I don't think he's going to become the poet laureate of soccer. So
maybe of France.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, well, like I said, we can talk about in the first segment. Let's talk about the All-Star game.
All right.
I thought I wanted to get your take on it. We talked a little bit off the air, and I was I was content and happy with the game, even though everybody else seemed to be very upset about it. I liked it. 2-1. Go. What did you think?
Well, I liked the game other than the fact that the commercial breaks were 3 minutes long.
Well, you mentioned that was a big deal.
And it was angering me as the game progressed.
That's an anger. What I do, though, I always take the commercial break. I'm your classic consumer. I go up and fill up my bowl with more chips and snacks.
Right.
And if I come back and they've already thrown a pitch, I'm mad at everybody because they didn't wait for me to get back in my seat.
Well, the other thing that I noticed, though, during those commercial breaks, a lot of them, when they got back to the game, the pitcher was like in his windup.
Yes.
And that was like
there was a disconnect between we're back on the air and now it's time to throw a pitch.
Right.
The pitchers obviously said, "Give me the ball.
Right.
Let's go."
Right.
So that's what I was saying. So I'm snuggling back in my chair with my Fritos and my soft drinks, and they've already. It's what the count's 1-1. Then I'm infuriated.
Yeah.
So that's how that works.
But I thought the game was good. I like a tight game. They don't all have to be 15-8.
Good.
They're fun games too. But to watch a pitcher's duel,
I like to watch good pitchers.
Yeah.
When it's 8-7,
right.
They're all great hitters. I think the pitchers aren't locating the ball where they need to do it most often when that happens.
Yeah.
Not always, to be sure, but I'm with you. I agree. I think that it doesn't have to be 8-7 to be a great game.
Right.
I thought the defensively it was very well played. I thought the pitchers all showed why they were all-star pitchers and very good all-star pitchers. I thought I'm you know what I really was glad they didn't dwell on is who didn't make the team. I really find that to be there's nothing beneficial to talk about the oversights. Usually that's something that, of course, I guess they're not going to bring that up on the national TV.
Right.
But I always find that tedious to talk about.
I guess that's for us to do, and we won't be doing it.
We won't be doing it. And what we were talking about before, what's that one thing we hate? We hate to see when players get disrespected. I know that really upsets the players that make $28 million a year. They don't want to get disrespected. Wait a minute, let me get this right. You got $22 million to play ball, but you feel disrespected.
Right.
There's a disconnect there that I'd like to explore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that brings up, because we were, for those listening, we'll let you a little insight on a discussion we were having before the show, and it had to do with Robinson Cano, who signed. He was on the Yankees, and he signed with Seattle, and he finally he finally came up with a big hit, and it's in an exhibition game. So the biggest hit of his Seattle career.
Leave Robinson alone.
Yeah.
I was saying also to you, I said he looked disinterested sitting on the bench,
Right.
and all of a sudden they showed him there like picking, pumpkin seeds out of his teeth in the 7th inning, and next thing you know, he's carrying around the most valuable player trophy. So I guess it worked out fine for Robinson, but he's still. I hate to see somebody disrespect him.
Right. Well, it's funny because they were having a discussion on a New York radio station that I listened to, and about Cano, and that's the point he brought up. He felt he was disrespected by the Yankees. Now, the Yankees had no problem paying him more money. They refused to give him more years.
The length of the contract was, and I think that's agent driven in most cases. You know what I mean? So the agent says, "Hey, we can get 10 years out of these guys." I don't even know if I want to play for the same team for 10 years. I'd be very careful about that. But the fact that
it depends what team. But Seattle,
sure, yeah.
I mean, I would feel like that's
the media mecca.
Sentence.
The media mecca,
right? And you just think of how much money he lost with endorsements.
Oh my gosh!
And because
if you just stay in New York and do commercials, you'll make so much. You can, those guys can make, I think, half as much as their salary in endorsement deals. That's impressive.
Right.
Plus, if you hang around and do a good job and play 15 years in New York, you're set for life doing some kind of media.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
Right.
But you got to be smart about it.
So the other thing that happens during All-Star break is the Dinger contest.
Oh yes,
which I actually like.
I liked it because I realized that's got to be exhausting to stand there and swing the bat that many times for the fences.
Yeah,
I think at the end they were both pretty tired.
Yeah.
when they were trying to swing, and I think the judge obviously displayed why he's the talk of baseball. He can mishit a ball farther than most guys can hit it big.
I was watching him. There were a couple of balls that he hit into right field that off the bat. It was like, oh well, he's not going to get it. And then it's like 8 rows up.
He popped that one up, and I went, oh well. And then you look, and the kids are all looking over the fence. I said, well, he didn't pop it up too bad.
Well, a lot of I shouldn't say a lot of guys, but there are a fair amount of home run hitters that don't want to do the.
Oh, sure.
Because they
screw up their swing.
And I do have to say this. Aaron Judge has not hit a home run since the All-Star break. And, in fact, he's gone hitless. So
he is hitless. Yes. All right. That's what you like to see.
Right.
Aaron Judge has played one game and gone hitless since the All-Star game. But I'll tell you what. When he does hit it, it's fun to watch. And so same with Stanton.
Yeah.
And Sanchez, too. Sanchez kind of got the raw deal because Sanchez was actually could have been called the premier power hitter in the league before Judge arrived.
Yeah.
So Sanchez is still, a force to be reckoned with at the plate. But I agree that I think a lot of guys don't like to do it because they feel that it screws their swing up.
Yeah.
And I was laughing. The one guy, I forget who it was, Sano, whom I don't like as a player anyhow, but he's in the finals. But he criped his pitcher was painting the corners. he took an awful lot of pitches. He must have took 10 to 15 pitches in 4 minutes. You don't want to see that happen. Although he got in the finals, so obviously he's a talent. But I hold anybody that walks around totally careless about ground balls and fly balls. I don't have a ton. I don't respect him. So, if he should feel disrespected with his $15 million a year contract because I disrespect him. But I thought the pitchers all did great. I liked miking the players in the outfield. We talked about that. I thought that was enjoyable. It's an exhibition.
Right.
Go mic them.
Well,
as long as they don't kill each other, that's fine.
Alex Rodriguez, he wrote an article or had somebody write an article for him. I'm still not sure about the true authorship of it,
we'll go with.
They gave him the byline, so
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
His 4-point plan to make baseball better.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and one of them was miking up the players, which they did in the.
But then they're really thinking about what they should say rather than what's going on in the field. And it's like texting and driving. I don't think that's a good idea.
Right.
But in other words, they were talking to Brian. They were talking to Bryce Harper.
Right.
And I'm thinking, somebody drives one in the gap. What's he going to say? Whoa, I'll be right back.
Right.
I better go get that one. I mean,
Right.
It's just, it is an exhibition, so I buy that. But if the game matters, pretty soon I can see where they're going. And we talked about the technical breakthroughs.
Right.
They're going to try and do technical strike zones. I just hate to see the game reduced to an automated attempt. It's a video gamization is a good phrase you use. Why not? Can it be humanized?
Right.
Let's have human beings that make mistakes do it. Let's play it outdoors. Not everything's going to work out exactly the way you want it to, and let's take it at that.
And part of the problem also is that it has a now I lost the word I had in my mind while you were talking.
I'm sorry.
But it'll become tedious after a while.
It will.
And
I mean, there's what do people do when they find out it's imperfect? Also,
right.
There's mistakes that are made.
Right.
Then you have to change the whole idea is to eliminate mistakes, and it can't be done. I'm telling you, it cannot be done.
Right.
There are going to be mistakes made, and big ones, I don't know. But small ones, who knows? But the fact of the matter is, there's going to be mistakes made.
Right.
And on third strike calls, I just can't we just accept the fact that everything that happens, every game that's played has mistakes. Football, there's mistakes. There are holding calls that are missed. My gosh, they're missed all the time. They show the replay, guy going back to pass, and the guy's grabbing guys by the shirt.
Right.
But that's the way it goes. You learn to deal with that as a player, I think.
Yeah.
And as an official. And, I mean, I'm not going to do my job if I figure, well, what difference does it make what I call? They're going to go to the booth anyhow.
Right.
Maybe I won't work as hard. Maybe I won't try as hard. I just don't see the point to it. And you may disagree with me on that.
No, I tend to agree with you.
Good.
Another one of his points are like hot cameras between like the hours of 5 and 6 during like batting practice and in the bullpen. I think that could be kind of cool.
What do you mean? What, I don't know what that means.
They just have the cameras on.
Oh, just on? Okay.
Yeah, so like if you're watching like the Red Sox feed or whatever from the hours of 5 to 6.
You can actually see the guys chewing the fat in the dugout.
Right.
So it's like reality TV.
Yeah. I think that could be interesting.
I could be, but I think it would get old too.
Right.
I mean, how many days of the week do I want to see, the Drew Pomerantz chew the fat with Sanchez, the backup catcher for the Red Sox?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe. I know he's trying to do something different.
Right.
And that's fine. I have no
because they do that. Like I've seen Yankee broadcasts where, they'll be hanging around. They'll go and they'll be talking to their announcer or whatever, the guy on the field, and he might grab a guy and talk to him for a second. But what I think he's talking about really is just there is no guy talking. There is no announcer. It's just kind of like a live feed. And wow, that went by
like
fast.
I said, we have a lot. Like I said, we have 2 hours to go.
Right.
We'll see if Andrea gets through to us. If not, we'll go back to talking about the All-Star game and take some baseball from there. And if she's on the line, we will put her on and we will get an update on the Tour de France.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. Our phone number here is 352-315-1410 if you want to call and be part of the show. We'll take your call then. And we are waiting for our foreign correspondent, maybe calling from Versailles, Pennsylvania. I don't know. We'll be right back after. And we are back here on Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And we have our foreign correspondent.
Oh, I thought she was going. I thought she was going to stand us up for something else to do, but obviously she didn't let that happen. That's very nice of her. Oh, by the way, Andrea, welcome. This is Andrea Krieg, our foreign correspondent from Western Pennsylvania, who is our foremost authority on the Tour de France. And she sent me, listen, folks, she sent me a packet with all the information on the Tour de France, and every time I think I've got the envelope emptied, another map falls out, and with 15 more teams on it. So I'm not doing very good on my homework, but that's okay. Andrea, thanks for taking some time out to join us.
Okay.
Let me throw this at you. This is the local headline, and I'm going to do a little synopsis, and then we'll go into our discussion. The headline in the local paper says, Barguil delivers Bastille Day win to France. And there's there's an article about it. End result, Sky has 2 riders, Froome and Landa, in the top 5. From here, let me see if I can read this, to the July 23rd finish in Paris, Aru will have to watch both like a hawk and not let either race off ahead of him in order to keep the famed yellow jersey. It's perfect for us, says, and what's his nickname? Zoom Froome. Okay, it's perfect for us, says Froome. So the point is, we've given him a nickname, by the way, Andrea. But the fact of the matter is, so I guess it is perfect for them in the sense that Aru's going to be looking over both shoulders, right?
Well,
if
I was going to say, you did make up that nickname for him. That is not his nickname.
Darn it. I thought he'd love it.
That's going to catch on.
It's catching on. We're going to start it.
That's
We're
right.
selling jerseys.
Well, there's something going on. First of all, Barguil won the Frenchman on Bastille Day, and that is wonderful. He's a very good rider. He's a contender, and the French are coming up. They've won 4 stages already in this Tour de France. Now, the issue with Landa and Froome, it's very, very rare that a lead-out man actually takes over the race from the leader. But it can be, because if the leader can't make it, there's no reason why his lead-out man can't go ahead of him. Well, it was a controversial issue because some of the guys said he should never, ever, ever get out of team order. He should have stayed beside Froome and encouraged him the whole way. And the other guys say that, hey, if the leader can't make it, why not let him make it? So now the 2 of them are up there, but Landa is not going to do anything. He's going to stay behind, and he's going to take care of Froome.
Okay. You had a question, Greg?
No.
Oh, I do look like you were getting ready to say something. I think, I'm learning more and more about this. But here, a couple of questions for you, Andrea. And these are things that just pop into the mind of a casual observer. The importance of winning the stage, like Barguil, is that how you pronounce it?
He wants the L on the end, Barguil.
Barguil. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. That's as good as it's going to get from me. But the fact of the matter is, now he won the stage. Who cares? And please tell me. And I'm sure you have a perfect answer for this. But I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the headline. And what did he deliver? A Bastille Day win to France. He won the stage. Does that make France like party down for the rest of the week? I don't know. That's like winning a mile of a marathon, isn't it? Explain.
No, no. The
there you go.
stages are important.
Ah.
There are 21 of them, and it's very, very important who wins the stages. If you look into their bios as riders, they will list all the stages that they won in various races. It defines what they can do under a particular kind of terrain, and everyone loves the stage winner. I mean, he's like the winner of the whole race for that day. It's very important. And a Frenchman on Bastille Day, that would be like an American on July 4th here in the United States.
Yeah.
It's just going to add a little bit of holiday drama.
How about financially? Is there a compensation for winning a stage?
Yes, they win money, they win points.
Now I get it.
They win money and they win points.
Yes.
I don't know how much money for a stage, and it's probably different for everyone, but I just heard this morning that the sprint that comes up early on each stage, which is usually gotten by a guy that is, he's nobody, he's in the breakaway, he'll win about 20 points, but it's 1,500 euros. That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. For a day's work on the bike, that's pretty good stuff.
That's only like 1/5 of the day's work.
Yes, yeah. So you're right. Like I said, that opened my eyes. I wasn't sure exactly if that was, that makes all the sense in the world to me now. Obviously, you want to do it for your resume, you want to do it for the team, but you also doesn't hurt to have a few shekels or euros in your pocket. And I'm going to sidetrack for 1 second, and this is a question you may or may not answer, but it occurred to me. I was wondering why this. Obviously, in Europe, it's a major event. I was playing paddle tennis with a guy today from Scotland who he knew all the riders, just like you. He gave me the whole rundown of what was going on. And is there a betting line established on these races? Can you go and can you bet on the Tour de France?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a betting person.
Well, me neither.
You must be able to.
I would think you got to, but it would seem to me there'd be more interest in the United States, especially. I mean, obviously there's bikers or cyclists that are interested, but I would think if it had betting lines, they would be in the paper, and you'd be able to say, "Oh, I'm going to bet on Sky," or "I'm going to bet on."
Gambling is legal in Great Britain.
Yes,
and they
that's what I mean. So they
bet. I mean, I should say sports
betting, sure.
And they bet on everything. So
well, I was just curious because I would think that would be something that people would be talking about, but they're not talking about it for this, and that's absolutely fine too. But but I didn't mean to throw that at you. But it just occurred to me as I was thinking, why isn't this getting more press in the United States? Why isn't this a bigger deal? And I thought it's because maybe there's no betting line on it, and that's usually why anybody cares about baseball and football and basketball and everything else is because of all the betting lines on the game. But tell you what,
I have some breaking news.
What is breaking news?
The tennis, Venus Williams lost.
Oh, she lost to Garbiñe Muguruza from Spain.
I wasn't going to pronounce it. I was going to let
She
you
is
do it,
really an attractive lady. I mean,
7-5 and 6-0.
All right, so there's a cut in there. Back to the Tour de France. Take us from here. Okay, so how many stages left? What do you expect is going to be coming up in the next week?
Well, there's about 8 stages left, so there's a lot of racing to go. They're on 2 hilly stages now, but tomorrow there's 2 Category 1 hills, and that's considerable in the Massif Central. Then they rest, then there's a flat, then there's 2 mountain stages in the Alps, there's another flat, a time trial. So there is going to be a lot of changes coming up, different teams, different riders, the GC guys, the guys that you don't hear anything about. Teams are going to start losing 3, 4, 5 guys. So much is going to happen. It's not going to look like the picture that it is today. Okay,
and with your expertise, based on what you've seen developing over the last 4 or 5 days, if you remember when we talked last week, Froome was looking pretty strong, and now he doesn't have the yellow jersey right now. But it's only 6-7 seconds. It's pretty marginal, isn't it? How far he's behind? Yeah. Well,
a couple things to that. The commentators are saying that this is the closest ever that the overall standings in the top 10 have ever been. And that's because the guys are stronger, they're better, they're just more advanced, more balanced riders. And is he worried about this? He doesn't like it. However, Sky and he are still extremely strong. And there's just so much to come up that there's going to be changes. There just are. So he's probably going to try to get some extra minutes. He doesn't want to do anything stupid. It's a very quiet day out there today, although they're pretty tense in the peloton because they don't want to make any mistakes. But boy, he would like a minute over the other guys instead of 6 seconds. However, he's got a lot of time and a lot of different kinds of terrain to get that.
So there's no gloom for Zoom Froome?
No gloom for Zoom. We're going to have fun with this. No room for gloom with Zoom Froome. Right. But I do want to talk to you about what I'm reading. I just read in that section in the paper. Is that in fact perfect for Froome? The fact that both he and Landa are going to be breathing down Aru's neck, and will that in fact affect Aru? The fact that he's got 2 different guys from Sky, he's got to look over the shoulder at both of them.
Well, that's a big controversy. I don't know about that. Landa, he and Contador and Quintana, they're 3 Spaniards, and they took off yesterday, and they were talking to each other, and they were just enjoying being in the highlight. Landa came out of nowhere. This is really not something that anybody would have expected, although you don't know what Sky's doing. I don't think Aru is worried about the two of them.
Okay.
However, there's just something so unexpected that happened. Although, remember, a few years ago, Froome did this to Wiggins. Wiggins couldn't make it up the hill, and Froome was his lead-out man, and he very nicely passed him up. Well, it caused a whole bunch of brouhaha, and everybody talked about it, and now look who's the next champion is Froome. So does this mean something about Landa, or is just this a fluke? It just happened on the mountains because he had the strength. He's young. He wanted to do it. Contador was trying to win the stage. Lots of things were happening, and the observers grab onto this and think it's a trend. Personally, I don't know about it. We'll have to see because there's so much terrain to go yet.
And you're talking about the terrain to go now, and I've looked at all your maps, and like I said, no, I'm dead serious about this. The fact of the matter is, when they come down on the 23rd and they're into Paris, when does it come back? At what point does it become last year's race as opposed to, I mean, I know they're doing a different terrain altogether, which I admittedly thought every year they ran the same track. That's how clueless I was on this. But the fact is, they're going to get back, into the final, how many kilometers, just like last year? Or isn't it the same at all? I know they come back into Paris, but aren't they going to go on the Champs-Élysées? And or is that just always the big finish?
Well, yes, it always is. But what happens on the last day? The winner is actually determined on the day before the last day, and this is going to be a time trial, so that's definitely going to divide them all up. And Landa will probably end up being 150th because he's not a time trialist. So you see, there's just so much to come up, and their different talents are going to come into play. Well, the winner is literally decided on the day before. They ride into Paris about 30 miles from some outside town. They ride slowly, they're taking pictures, they're smiling, they're happy. When they get into Paris, there is an eight circuit loop that they have to go on, and that is serious. If Froome is 2 minutes, 3 minutes ahead, nobody is going to try to challenge him to ruin what has happened for the last 20 days. Nobody's going to do that. But the sprinters are. And they can have mechanicals. They on the cobblestones, they can fall, and they do. But if Froome comes in there with 7 seconds ahead or anybody else, then they are going to try to beat somebody. And it happened once with Lance, but of course he won. Mm-hmm. However, it's the same thing happens every year. It's the same loop, but they are racing, and they do fall, and they get into trouble. So it's an interesting day to watch.
Well, I'm intrigued because now this is another thing I didn't realize. The race is basically over the day before they come into Paris.
Yes.
Okay.
Whoever has won after the time trial, and it's not always the time trial. Sometimes it's a mountain stage, sometimes it's a flat stage. It just happens this year it's a time trial, and whoever is won has won. Nobody is going to challenge that person. They're not going to race out in front of them. They're going to ride quietly and happily into Paris. But then on that 8 circuits, on the Champs-Élysées, they are going to be beating themselves up, and whoever is the winner, he can't just sit back and say, well, nobody's going to challenge me. He's got to stay up front ahead of the other guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a quick 20 minutes, and I know we're going to be coming up on a break. Now, next week, we'd love to have you come back, but I also understand that you're going to be glued to especially if, because according to you, that's basically when the race is going to be determined next Saturday, and we don't want to make you lose it, but we sure hope you won't forget about your little friends down here in Leesburg, Florida. I know it's tough when you're up in a tram in the Pyrenees, and you got your binoculars out.
Right.
It's always nice that you remember your friends.
Enjoying some French wine.
That's right. Having
Well,
some
by
baguette.
next week, you two are going to be so informed that you're going to make all your own predictions, and I'm sure you won't need me.
Well, thanks so much for that. Boy, talking about laying the foundation for disaster. That just sounds great. But I'll tell you what, Andrea, as always, thanks. You are a sweetheart to be able to come in and educate two lunkheads here, and not our audience, to be sure, but Greg and I, who really don't have a grasp of it. But stay with me on this. Keep sending me stuff, because I'm going to learn it. I'm going to figure it out. But right now, I'm still. I get all excited when I see somebody blow out a tire. So that we got. So that. But that's how that goes. But hey, Andrea.
Andrea, do you have a favorite bike manufacturer?
Bike well, there's Cannondale, Trek, Giant. No, not really. I don't ride myself. I wish I could, but in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you cannot ride a bicycle.
Right. How about that?
It's too mountainous.
That must be why I haven't been doing it for 50 years. But, hey, Andrea, again, thank you so much.
Thank you
the music's telling us we're done, but thank you for the update. And like I said, if I can twist your arm maybe for a minute or two next week while you're wrapped in on the TV, we'll see if we can't get you to tell us about what exactly has happened.
Okay, vive le tour.
Oh, yeah, that's why I always say that. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.
There you go. And so if you didn't know what was going on with the Tour de France, you do now.
That's right.
She's got this down, folks.
She does.
And if you saw what she sent me and Greg in the mail, you'd say, get out of here. There's enough here this is homework for a month. But I'm learning. I'm finally learning.
Me too.
But hey, so take us out, and we're ready to go back to other sports in the next segment.
You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports, and we'll be right back after these messages. We are back with the Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And we just got finished talking about Tour de France.
Tour de France, and again, thank you to Andrea Krieg, our foreign correspondent. She always is very nice to share her expertise with us, and we tease her a little bit, and she seems to play along. She probably has voodoo dolls ready to stick pins in it, but
she won't be the first.
That's exactly. Get in line. But no, she always does a great job, and we really appreciate that. And hopefully, when it gets down to next Saturday with one day, that's basically, she said, for intents and purposes, that's the last day of the race. That's when they determine the winner.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get a little bit of a time with her, but we won't. Like I said, I just thank her for all of her contributions to this point, to be sure.
Right.
It's helped us out a lot. Getting back to what we were talking about, and we are in the throes of a discussion about the All-Star game. And I wanted to, see if you had any thoughts about ways they could improve it, make it better, What's your
No, I mean, I liked it. I don't think I know some people were complaining about they didn't give the starting pitchers enough,
But if you don't know how long to pitch,
right.
That's the problem. The problem with the game is you run out of pitchers. If it's tied in the 11th inning and you've used all first of all, everybody wants you to use their pitcher.
Right.
You use some pitching inning, and now in the 12th inning, you got somebody that's got to pitch 15 innings. I mean, you just have to say, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally, I'm not going to get worked up over an exhibition game.
No.
But what's funny is I remember, what was it that year? I don't remember what year.
They had the tie?
Yeah. But isn't that the time to bring in some position players to pitch? I mean, you do it in a regular season.
I was going to say, or even have they could call it a last second or extra inning. Just get a starting pitcher who really didn't make the team,
right?
Who needs some work,
right?
Put him out there and say, "Here, you get to pitch against Judge and Sanchez and Trout and everybody." That's cool. But what I liked about the game this year is that the new quote-unquote stars are basically in place. For a while there, it was a cattle call for old stars who were past their prime.
Right.
And that doesn't seem the way. I don't know if the fans are getting smarter, but the voting is now Zach Cozart, good grief, is getting to start. And he earned it, obviously. He's had a great first year. But normally it would have been, who's the usual? Ozzie Smith is our usual shortstop. If he's hitting 210, who cares? I'm voting for Ozzie Smith. I think it's cool that they found a way to get Zach Cozart and I forget the other guy there's a guy from St. Louis. There's some players in there that I'm really not that familiar with, and I just thought it was great that you didn't get the same old retreads in for the last 15 years. Oh, this is Jose's 24th All-Star game, and he's out. I don't want to see that. I want to see the good young players. So I was glad, and I'm glad they let everybody pitch an inning because, let's face it, if you're watching the All-Star game to see your team's only representative play and he's a pitcher, you sure hope he gets in the game.
Yeah.
And that's good that they do that. I like the fact that if the starter wants to go 2 pitchers, but I think Scherzer pitched only 1 inning because he had just pitched a couple days before that.
Yeah.
And so they figured, let's not burn him out.
Right.
He wants to pitch an inning, and we'll kick everybody in after that. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I like that. I love the mic on the guys. I liked A-Rod. He's got a good praise agent. Somebody's telling him, you're not that well liked. You better get out there and you better self-deprecate a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
he's really transformed himself over the last
good
couple of
for him.
years. Yeah.
Smart move because he wasn't liked, and now everybody, there's A-Rod, and he's, and...
However, I was just reading in the New York Post that J-Lo has a private investigator tailing him, so we'll see.
J-Lo has
they're dating, J-Lo and...
Why would a private investigator mean to see if he's dating anybody else?
I guess. I mean, he's a notorious...
Lothario?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I'm glad I didn't know that. But by the same token, J-Lo's getting a little long in the tooth, too. I don't understand. She ought to be just happy who she gets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be trailing my dates.
Right.
But that's me.
I mean, wouldn't that tell you something? Like, if you even have to have that thought, let alone put it into action.
As we know, all relationships are based on trust. That's obviously a great way to go with it. But
is it trust but verify?
But like I said, you were saying something about somebody thought that for a while we're going to look at all players being mic'd. I'm sure it'll happen in the All-Star game first, and somebody will forget about it and let something slip.
I mean, I think it's a novel idea, and the novelty will wear off pretty quickly.
I agree with that 100%. But that being the case, I wanted to just bring up the All-Star game. And
I do have a couple of more things on the Alex Rodriguez. We only got to the two of them. So there was a
lot of time. Let's talk.
The hot cameras we talked about.
Yes.
The players mic'd up. Then the other one was $10 Tuesdays, which I think that's a good idea. Why?
Because it's alliterative? Why not $10 Wednesdays?
Well, because it is alliterative.
Okay.
But like on the first Tuesday of each month, all of the seats should be $10. I like that idea, actually.
All of the seats in the stadium?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the idea is that it'll open it up to families that really can't afford to pay $200 for a
I know that's the thought behind it. But I'm just saying, how do we guarantee those families that don't get to go grab and I mean, wouldn't wealthy families be just as thrilled to grab tickets for $10?
But I do like the idea. But that's the thing. Nothing is perfect, and that's the problem with replay. It goes into we got to make it. Are there going to be rich people who? Yes, there are. But I do like the concept of it. The
concept's a great idea. In fact, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with the team buying the tickets?
Well, I remember when I was a kid in New York, Con Edison was the power company there, and they gave tickets to the bleachers to like Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and stuff. So we always used to go to Yankee games and sit in the bleachers.
Which is great. You don't care where you sit.
Right. And I think that if you opened it up to and I'm not going to say that made me a baseball fan, because I think it ultimately was my dad, but it certainly helped that I was going to games that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to go to. So I think that could be an angle on that, like $10 Tuesdays, where you have a lot of kids groups, whatever they be, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts and what's the other big one? There's a lot of organizations that have, that help kids and stuff. And I think to fill up a stadium with a bunch of kids would probably be pretty fun.
I think it'd be fun, but I'm just saying, what a great PR move for the team to buy the tickets and distribute them.
Right.
That would be great.
Yeah.
You want to save $10,000 for your high rollers, you can do that.
Right.
But I mean, I think that's a great PR move.
Yeah.
That way you can guarantee that if there's kids, and we can do at the beginning of the year, just say, here it's a Tuesday, $10, or
Right.
whatever you want to call it. If you're allowed to sign up for a game,
Right.
come on this date. Here's all the days.
Right.
And when one game sells out, you have to pick another one.
Right.
But at least you get a chance to come in and get your tickets.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
And then the last one is, which I don't like, is MLB partnering with Google to show, like when a player's up at bat, you show like his social media stuff and his latest tweets.
You know what? That's coming.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry you said that, but you know what? The more I think about it,
I don't
the
like
more
it.
I despise it. So I'm sure they'll do it. And so because as everybody knows, that's all the only thing that's really important in life now is what everybody tweets and on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
That's much more important than
Yeah, that one I don't like. The other ones have some merit.
They do have merit. I agree with you. But that's interesting.
All right, so I'm done with Alex Rodriguez.
That's fine. And I'll tell you what, we still have a couple minutes in this section. I want because it doesn't require a lot of time, but you just related when Andrea's on, you cut in with some really breaking news, and it is breaking news that Venus Williams, who was 37 years old and going for her 8th or 9th.
I think it was 11th.
Oh, my gosh. Or is it Serena?
Oh, wait. I think this was her 11th appearance.
11th appearance,
Yeah.
but she's probably won 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
phenomenal, 37 years old, and you
Right.
make it to the final. But Garbiñe Muguruza beat her, you say,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
And it was like a close 7-5,
but then the
that was
second
6-0.
one was 6-0. Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like Venus ran out of steam.
Yeah.
But Muguruza,
Yeah. What is she? 21 or 22?
yeah, well, a big tall girl, and you know what? Interesting. She won the French Open or something 2 years ago, and then so all of a sudden she started getting seeded second and third in all the tournaments. She didn't do anything. She's getting beat by qualifiers. Obviously, she's good enough that she found her game at the right time to play at Wimbledon. But that's a tip of the hat to both to Muguruza and to Venus Williams.
Yeah.
Especially with all the stuff she was going through. I mean, that has to weigh in you a little bit. I guarantee you that has to weigh on with the parking. I mean, with the driving thing with the she may be looking at, and I'm not trying to throw darts at her, but she may be looking at some kind of vehicular homicide charge. Not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't want to have to go through that.
Well, there was another video from like a security checkpoint or whatever for a community, and apparently she didn't do anything illegal. So she'll. I'm thrilled that if that's the case, I'll be just
happy.
a tragic accident.
And they do happen too.
Yeah.
That's awful. But so you got that, and tomorrow Federer and Cilic, and Cilic is playing great, so that should be a great finals.
Yeah.
But Federer's 35. He's got a ton of. This is another major. He's 18-time. I mean, it's a Grand Slam, 18-time champion, and he's going to go for his 8th. That's. If he can pull that off at 35, God bless him. I mean, that's incredible. And by the way, 2 things real quick before we go to the break.
Yes.
One, the NFL, I'm looking at the note here and talking about driving things. Michael Floyd. NFL suspends Vikings wide receiver Michael Floyd for 4 games.
Yeah, he was in my my NFL notes.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I love it. He violated the substance abuse policy. Listen to this. Floyd was arrested in Arizona in December after Scottsdale police found him unresponsive at the wheel of his vehicle while it was running at an intersection. 4 is all he's getting for that? I mean, isn't he a repeater? Seems to me he got bumped for a year for maybe only 4 games before, but I know you have to 7 strikes and you're out, right? In the NFL.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that works. And also, one thing I wanted to bring up, and let me see, I have it in my notes.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, just to finish up the NFL, he was in my NFL notes, but Ezekiel Elliott faces suspension for domestic violence from allegations leveled against him in a 2015 incident. And they say, I guess their investigation is concluded that he is worthy of being suspended. So they're
suspended for what, 4 games?
They haven't handed that down
I think
yet.
it's domestic abuse. I think it's more than
Right.
that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a couple of games.
What
If
did
there
they
is
do?
no
What did
video.
they do with Peterson? Peterson, his was abuse, and
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was 4 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah,
It was a
remember.
lot. And
But Ray Rice got two games until video surfaced.
I'm smacking people in the elevator.
Right.
I'll tell you, but one of the things, and we got a minute before the break,
Sure.
but former Augusta National chairman passes away at 86. Hootie Johnson, if you remember,
Yeah.
Hootie was the one that was dead set against any minorities
Oh, really?
making it into Augusta. And Mildred Burke or Martha Burke, that was her name of the women. They would remember the big clash they had, and as it turns out, and I still don't know where this solves the problem. So they admitted 2 black members in
Right.
2012, and that's like, okay, now shut up and leave us alone.
Right.
So I think one of them is Condoleezza
Yes,
Rice.
you are right.
So, but he got besmirched. He was just, I think, a good old Southern boy who probably wasn't very progressive in his thoughts. And so that wasn't ideal for him to get thrown into that. But by the same token, I guess it worked out. I don't know if that's a win for the NOW or for Masters, that they took two black members in 2012, one of which was Condoleezza Rice, and I don't know who the other one is. But now nobody can say they don't have minorities. And I think, is that really what the point of it? I don't think that was the point of it. Here, we'll take one. Leave us alone.
Right.
But if that's the case, apparently it's that hard to get into the Masters. I mean, you have to get in by special invitation, no matter what minority or what nationality you are.
Right.
You better be able to pay, because it's many shekels.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's 1 hour in the books. Went by very quickly. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Give them a call at 352-787-2223. And they also do oil changes and a bunch of great people over there, so give them a shot. We'll be right back with some more Major League Baseball. We got some NHL stuff. We got an article from Forbes magazine. We'll be right back after these messages. We're back on Red Zone Radio Sports here with hour number 2 on WQBQ 1410. We've got a lot more stuff to talk about.
We sure do. I was one of the things I wanted to talk about, and before we get into this stuff, this is the only thing I want to do.
Right.
I have one NBA thing, and it's actually I call it a stupid athlete segment. But so Chris Paul, who's played as a guard for like the last 10 years, I'm going to guess, for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he looks like he's going to sign with Houston.
Right.
And his quote at the press conference: "I haven't been this excited about basketball in a long time, to tell you the truth." Now, how would you like to know that he was playing basketball for your city with some good players, and he wasn't so excited about it? I just think it's so dumb. And all you have to do, whether you believe it or not, all you got to do is say, "Really loved my time in San Diego or in Los Angeles, but I'm really looking forward to going to Houston now."
Right.
You know, but thank God, am I glad to get out of that rat hole. I couldn't wait to leave Los Angeles. I mean, it's just such a dumb thing to say. And we'll see if the part of the media, the ESPN people say, "Well, you got to admire his honesty." No, you don't. You got to think that's just about as stupid as you can get. I don't think that's. There's no place for that. I think it's idiotic. So that's my sidetrack. Back to you had a couple things you wanted to touch base on, and let's do it.
Well, I've got a potpourri of things,
I like
as usual.
A veritable potpourri.
So let's talk about Pablo Sandoval.
Oh yeah.
Who's
Pablo
designated for an assignment.
But he's rich.
He is.
He is rich. He's going to be sitting at home watching baseball games.
He had a $95 million contract.
Can you imagine paying somebody overweight?
$48 million left on that contract. And for his $95 million, Boston got him for 161 games, where he hit 136 hits and 14 home runs.
What do you bet?
I don't
Probably
know.
260.
Right.
Yeah. We can do the math.
Yeah.
And they didn't make it in the postseason.
No.
Well, I guess that.
But I guess he'll be laughing all the way to the bank, I suppose.
Oh, of course he is. But and I always like when the media gets into this. Like I said, I got nothing against Dave Dombrowski. Obviously, he's a pretty sharp guy. But, hey, that was his trade.
Yeah.
Or his signing.
Right.
I'm sorry. I think everybody. I'm not. It's easy to say this now, but if you can't see this coming, he's an out of shape third baseman who is like a loose cannon and doesn't walk ever. He swings at anything that's pitched, everything and anything that's pitched. He would rather pop up than walk, and I don't know if that's how you want to go with it.
Yeah, we were talking about Prince Fielder, and he's actually out of baseball.
Yeah, and he's probably only 32 or 3.
Right.
But, I mean, there comes a time where you got to stay in a little bit of shape, don't you think?
Yeah.
And we talked about that, your body breaks down.
But he had Fielder had a horrific time in Texas.
Yeah, no, that's a shame. But like I said, so we can say all the bad things about Pablo Sandoval, and he'll probably feel like he's not respected. But I respect the heck out of the fact that his agent and he worked out a deal that he's going to get. He still owed $48 million after now that he's done.
Yes,
that's a good agent.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Yep.
I want his name and number. That's pretty good stuff.
Right.
But isn't that amazing? And people don't realize, I think, when they see Sandoval signs with the Red Sox, but they sort of listen to what it amounts to, but the numbers get so big you don't think about it.
Yeah.
But when the guy doesn't perform or produce,
right,
then you look at it and go, "What in the world? That was the worst thing you could have possibly done."
It just shows you the power of the MLB Players Association.
It's the power of the association, and it also it shows you that the GMs, they have a gun to their head. They're backed up against the wall. Somebody will if somebody else will sign them if you don't sign them.
Yeah, and because all you're in for on him is the league minimum.
Yeah.
So you can pay him. I think it's about $550,000.
That's right.
Because but
here's my question: will he in fact sign another contract with another team?
I think somebody will pick him up.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, there's really no downside for a team to pick him up for $550,000 because I don't even think it's even guaranteed.
But he's not even a good player now.
Well, maybe he's.
You're right.
Mad enough.
There's teams out there, like I said, even the Red Sox teams looking for a third baseman.
Right.
And the Red Sox couldn't wait to cut Travis Shaw. Is that his name? The guy that sent to Milwaukee. The guy's got 100 RBIs almost. I mean, it's
yeah.
I'm always amazed.
Having said that, though, I think I agree with you in where you're going. Is I wouldn't take the chance.
No,
unless I was just so desperate and had nobody. But
what if you even have a third baseman in the minor leagues that looks like he can hit the ball?
Yep.
Bring him up.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just don't. What I think I think that's a bad PR move to your fans. Here we're going to bring in a guy who doesn't walk,
right?
Can't run,
right?
And absolutely butchers third base from time to time.
Yep. No range,
but he can hit 270.
Right.
So can a lot of guys, I bet.
Right.
So that's how that works. So, but no, that's interesting. That was an interesting story, and also we threw out the fact that the Yankees, two of their promising pieces coming into the season, are facing surgery, and that's Greg Bird, their first baseman, and Mike Pineda, their pitcher, who they were really counting on.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
That's a huge loss. That's like the number 2 or 3 pitcher. That's big.
And for him personally, this was his last year.
Yeah,
with the Yankees. So
he
was
going to make. If he pitched well, he'd have a lot of chips in his corner when it came time for free agent.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to be able to play, and his values. Yeah, he's down. He's down big time.
So that's a bad break for Mr. Pineda.
Really is.
Greg Bird, on the other hand, rookie, he's that typical potential guy. He's got they're predicting a lot of upside.
Big
for
loop
him.
in his swing, but he's a good first baseman.
Yeah, and he could, when he connects,
he can hit the ball.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty nice. If you had Sanchez, Judge, and a semi-productive Bird, that's pretty good lineup around Gregorius and Gardner and even Headley, who I always think I'm going to see him traded tomorrow, but he never seems to be traded.
Well, that's why I wonder, if Sandoval will end up on the Yankees.
No, please, no. I don't get me wrong. I think Headley's okay,
right?
But he talk about a disappointment for the money he was paid.
Yes,
but he looks like a great deal compared to Sandoval, I think. So that's where I am on that. But
the Yankees picked up another rookie first baseman. He played last night in the game.
I'm gonna look. I got the box score right in front of me.
Tell me his name because it's
first base is a guy named Cooper.
Yeah, I think they picked him up from Milwaukee or.
Well, that's not the guy. That's not the guy they let go. Who was the guy? Clark. Who was the guy they let go?
I don't know.
Remember,
but this guy's a rookie. It was a trade.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he has the same line as the guy he's replacing. 4 at-bats, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy hit 40 home runs and batted like 210 for and the Yankee Carter. That was his name.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Chris Carter.
Yeah, well, this is Cooper, and Cooper did a Carter imitation last night.
Yeah.
And
although he's like 24, he's not.
Yeah. I know. I don't mean to be tough on him.
Yeah.
But Headley.
And actually, I believe last night was his major league debut.
Well,
so I didn't expect him to go 4 for 4.
No, that's like
runs,
I said, that's really tough. But So like I said, let's turn the. Do you have more that you want to talk about? You want to touch on the Fortune article or? Wasn't that what you have? Some from Fortune 500?
Yeah. Forbes magazine.
Forbes. I'm sorry. We got 5 minutes left in the section. Let's talk. Let's see what we're talking about.
They do a yearly franchise valuation, and so they put the value on the teams. And so can you guess the number? And this is worldwide.
Okay.
But I will give you a hint. Number one team is from the United States. So do you know the most valuable franchise in the world?
Professional sports?
Yes.
In terms of marketing and everything else and merchandise? It's got to be Dallas.
It is, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be the Yankees a few years ago.
Yes, but Dallas, I remember Dallas, I remember that's what popped in my mind.
Right.
Dallas overtook them. I think the Yankees are still second.
They are.
Yes.
Well, the Cowboys are valued at $4.2 billion. Yankees are valued at $3.7 billion.
And then one of the Chelsea United or something?
Manchester United.
Manchester, yeah.
$3.69 billion.
Yeah.
And then Barcelona, $3.64 billion. Real Madrid at number 5.
Real Madrid.
Madrid, I'm sorry.
Yes, I know, that's okay.
$3.58 billion. Then, I don't want to bore everybody with
No, I love it. I mean,
here
people. I don't think people realize how important. First of all, you're talking about soccer, and you think it's not big. I mean, that's pretty stinking big.
But then they kind of fall off the map.
Well, sure they do, but the good teams don't.
So number 6 is the Patriots. Number 7, which shocked me, the New York Knicks.
The Knicks? I would never have guessed that.
Me either.
Never in a million years would I have guessed that.
Me either.
Wow.
Number 8 is the Redskins.
That's surprising.
Number 9 is the Giants. That kind of, surprised me.
Well, New York, yeah, I can get that.
It's number 10.
The Jets.
No, the Lakers.
That makes sense,
right.
too.
I just wrote down the first 10.
I like them, but I mean, talk about eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because those are your money makers.
Right.
And that's incredible.
And then this is the top 50 list. 29 teams are from the NFL. So out of
29.
Yeah. So it shows you.
I'm gonna guess the ones that aren't in from the NFL. I'm gonna go out. I know you don't know. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go out and limb and say Jacksonville.
Probably. And I believe the owners of Jacksonville own Manchester United.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. So no holes in their shoes, and that's fine. All right. So Blake
Jacksonville's their loss leader, I guess.
Black Bortles will probably be playing soccer next year.
Yeah.
Oh, golly. But, no, that's really interesting. I find that fascinating because I still, and maybe you can answer this for me, I can't grasp why Dallas is number one. I mean, I know that I think Jerry Jones probably turns off more people than he attracts. And I'm trying to think, what is it about the franchise? The cheerleaders?
Well, I think they market the team very well, and one of the marketing things is the cheerleaders.
All right, yeah. Then you're going to see a lot of other girls in skimpy outfits dancing around the. Don't the Skins also have?
They all have them.
The Steelers don't.
Really?
No. They used to have the Steelerettes. Boy, wait, somebody put a lot of time and effort into that name. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think they have the girls out there doing the two-piece outfits and dancing anymore. I might be wrong.
I think you're wrong because I think all of the teams have them.
Okay.
I'm trying to think because I used to post, on one of my websites. I used to post that they would always have, whether it was USA Today or they would post pictures of the cheerleaders. And I remember seeing Pittsburgh.
Okay, well then maybe you got me on that one, but I'm thinking that's got to be one of the reasons that the Cowboys are so valuable as the cheerleaders.
Yeah, and a lot of it is media deals. Texas is a very populated.
Yeah, there's no question. So, Dallas, Fort Worth, right. Arlington. I mean that's a big. Right. If you include
and then you
all
look
those,
at a professional team, when you start going into Oklahoma and Arkansas, maybe even New Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
their
big area.
That's their home team.
Yeah.
Oklahoma especially.
Yeah.
Oklahoma doesn't have a pro team to follow,
right.
so they're going to leak down and come into Dallas.
Yeah.
That makes most sense. Yeah, that's 5-6 hours away, I think.
And they come up with, America's team, so.
By the way, as a quick sideline, the trip to Texas that was maybe my least favorite trip anywhere in the world.
Really?
Is Amarillo.
Oh.
I'm not, please, no calls from our Amarillo listeners. But the fact of the matter is, I went to Amarillo. My plane broke down, and I was in a little Duke Beechcraft, and while it was being serviced, we had to spend the night in Amarillo. First of all, it's so windy you can't get your plane off the ground. And when you finally get it fixed, there's tumbleweeds. Really, just they're bouncing off your windshield while you're driving down the street, and that's the truth.
Right.
But that is your basic, urban cowboy type. I mean, it's just
right.
Everybody's got a cowboy out hat and they got a tumbleweed stuck in their windshield. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. But I've not gone back to Amarillo in probably 40 years, and I hope I never go back. It may be great now, so don't get mad at me, but I didn't have fun in Amarillo. I remember it.
Well, on that travel blog here.
Here, as we segue from our sports to Amarillo, I probably have good sports in Amarillo.
Probably not. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryant, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. And their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we will be right back after these messages. We're back. Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. I'm Greg Malinzuk, and on the other side of the glass is Bob Wiltman. They keep us separated by a big,
it has to be done.
Big sheet of bulletproof glass.
Yep, and they have things to remind us of the call-in number, which I will remind you because we call in if you want to talk. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. 352-315-1410. And it's easy to remember in the sense that 352 you're going to remember, and 1410 are the call numbers for the station. So all you got to do is remember 315, and you can squeeze it in between 352 and 1410, and we've got callers.
I've got a little house cleaning.
I'm ready.
So Ryan Lochte has been cleared of his shenanigans.
Who remembers Ryan Lochte?
Nobody.
No.
But he was a swimmer in.
He was your Olympic guy.
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro.
Absolutely.
And, he's been cleared of his whatever shenanigans he did down there.
Okay, good.
And then.
But he had a very wealthy family, I think.
Yeah.
And they probably paid somebody off.
Right.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, so he's lucky.
Yes.
But
and then I guess the other big brouhaha is the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather bout.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Are you?
Because I can't think of, if this is where boxing has gone.
Right.
Shame on it. It lost me with its decision. I'm not a boxing judge or referee,
Right.
but I can watch a fight and I pretty much tell in 80% of them who's won the fight.
Yeah.
But these are ones where everybody thinks the one guy won it, but the only people that matter say it's somebody else.
Right.
And that bothers me. But that aside, this is going to be a travesty.
Well, they are raking in the dough on this
I know.
already.
And you know what? Oh, they have one thing on their mind and one thing only, and that's a rematch.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather.
Mayweather.
He's one of the wealthiest athletes. When we talk about Forbes lists, he's in the top 100. I saw this a few weeks ago, and I don't remember exactly. He might even be in the top 10.
I believe that. But what has happened? They've taken it on the tour, so they've gone to all the big cities trying to market it.
Right.
And it's dragged itself into the mud so much that it
Yeah.
makes me nauseated.
Right.
I mean, we're this Connor guy. I don't even know him.
Right.
But he's screaming, wife beater, and I think, is that really where we have to go? It's like the world WWE. But it sounds like you're supposed to believe that it's not fake. It's just, I find it so distressing. I would never pay money to see that anyhow. So,
Me either.
But anybody that would do it, are you that starved for entertainment
Yeah.
that you want to see? And I don't watch MMA. I've seen it,
Yeah,
so I know what it is.
Not a big fan.
And I'm not a fan of it. Doesn't mean you can't be a fan.
No,
I'm just
no.
not. But I'm just saying, then have the fight. But
Right.
the whole in sports now, and this is a mini rant, but I'm going to go off on it because it take a minute. The loss of humility and decorum.
Yeah.
Now the idea is to say as many offensive things as loudly as you can.
Right.
And if that's not as offensive enough, we'll go one more step. And there's the days of, I grew up where they had humble athletes.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking Muhammad Ali, but he started it.
Right.
Where, I'm better than everybody, I'm going to beat, and everybody loved it. The media,
Right.
I'm not sure that the people were craving that type of behavior, but once Ali became popular, they went for it. So I was just amazed. I found this whole in your face attitude with people shooting their mouth off. What's up?
Yeah. Nothing.
Oh, okay. But I just find it, and I take nothing against Muhammad Ali, but
Right.
I resent the fact that people took his antics as a way to emulate him.
Yeah.
And, not by being a good fighter. Don't fight as well as him, but just to talk like he does.
Well, the language, we had talked about this before. When you call somebody a racist and they're not, you have nowhere to go.
That's my point.
When you're using profanity and you use it all the time,
you have no place to take it once everybody's used to it.
Right.
That's my point. You have to make it more outrageous.
Yeah.
And these guys are.
But see, they're trying, but they still can't because and one used a homophobic term,
Sure.
and the other one, used a racist. Or I wasn't. I don't even. Truthfully, McGregor, I don't think even what he said wasn't racist. It was just, and I'll say it. He used the term boy, which I know is, African Americans take umbrage to that in the history.
Sure.
But I don't think he actually meant it in that way because, I call, he didn't go, "You're a boy." He was like, I don't know what did he say? I don't remember the exact.
I don't.
Like, dance
that,
for me, boy.
That was nice compared to some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
he was screaming
but,
wife beater and
yeah,
and because Mayweather had that.
He has
but
some issues there.
But that doesn't make it. It's not classy.
Right.
I mean, if that's what you have to do to sell tickets,
right.
It just seems
yeah.
moronic, and this is all being set up as there's something funky. I'm present this. Something funky is going to happen in that thing, where it has to be redone.
Yeah.
And they say this is how easy it is to
Right.
fleece people from
Yeah, 'cause
zillions of dollars.
You're talking a lot of money.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know.
Why? Just for the fact that we can say, yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
What? It's just so dumb. If you're really an interested boxing fan, then watch it. I'm all
Right.
for it. But to watch it under the guise of, but that's where marketing has gotten to. Now the idea isn't to see a good fight; is to see Conor get his brains beat in, or see Mayweather finally get what is coming to him.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Not let's
Right.
see who's a better fighter.
Right.
That's irrelevant, and it has been that way for a while. I just wish we returned to the class of Arthur Ashe and guys that won and humbly shook hands.
Yes.
And didn't walk off and beat their chest and look up to the sky and
Right.
kiss their finger. Look, just
Right.
accept it. You're good. You're good. You're fighting for the world championship.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sell people. You don't have to scream in a microphone how great you are.
I like the Vince Lombardi quote.
Act like you've been there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nobody does that.
Right.
Everybody acts like.
See,
when they get there, they want to be inventive.
I'll give you this, Aaron Judge. All of a sudden, that guy zooms to number one. Like, people love him.
Yes.
What is he doing? He's very humble. He's got a great sense of humor.
He's smart.
Yeah.
But if somebody tries to, I think he's mixed. He's a mulatto, I believe. One of his parents.
I believe so. Yeah.
But the fact is, whoever got to him, he doesn't even worry about that stuff.
Right.
And hopefully nobody will get to him.
I think, I think I don't think that that's going to happen, because I don't think his humility is fake.
That's important, and we'll find out real fast. You're right, though. He has done it. You know what? Nobody's handing him scripts.
Right.
He's just acting like he is.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
But the minute somebody starts telling him what to say and how to say,
right.
he's going to be in trouble.
I think he's got a close relationship with his family.
That's everything.
And another guy like Derek Jeter was the same way. Good family values and stuff. And was very, fairly humble.
I'll bet he never did. He ever go out and beat his chest and say, "I'm the best"?
No,
I never saw him do it.
Well, and it was the knock on Jeter was the guy never said anything controversial. Well, I don't want to hear controversy, really.
What? Yeah. What's the point of controversy? And again, getting back to our discussion a little bit, can I think of anything more trite than saying the guy doesn't? I'm not respected.
Yeah.
The respect. If you're making $20 million a year, somebody respects you.
Right.
Somebody respects what you're worth.
Guess it's not enough.
It should
giving me enough respect.
To me, that's what I mean. That to me is the respect thing. And who is it? And I got another LeBron. These guys that say, "Well, I'm not respect. You're not respect." Please, $98 million a year.
Right.
You're respected.
Yeah.
I think I name a town after you.
I will say this, even though you don't like the comparisons, when they do the comparisons from older players. I think the case is closed on LeBron James being the best ever. I don't think he is.
But there's no way to.
No, I know, but if you just look at this, the statistics and the championships and stuff,
but you can't.
Well, you can.
They played against different. They played
with.
They did,
but
they played with different teammates against different opponents. You can't compare them. It's like saying, like I said, now the guy just said, no, well, I disagree. This thing about, and nobody's ever had this many triple doubles. Who cares about it?
I don't.
I don't care about the triple double. So he got one.
Well,
that doesn't make him the greatest player of all time.
I'm kind of looking at it in terms of like championships and stuff. So,
but championship, but they're not individuals. Championship's a team.
I understand.
Well, okay. I don't. Here's what I consider to be the ultimate. And let me have my say. This will take a minute.
I'm going to mute him, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, mute me. Push the button.
Put the music on.
Here's to me the classic asinine sports show discussion. Who is a greater basketball player, Michael Jordan or Wilt Chamberlain? And the fact of the matter is, they ain't even the same.
It depends what statistic you're talking about.
No, it doesn't.
Is it women or?
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is, does it make sense to compare them? No. No.
Okay.
They're not the same player. They didn't play together. One guy was 7'1", the other guy was 6'6". You can't do it.
Killjoy.
No, I'm sorry. Well, okay. I'll tell you. So, okay, here, let's look at the films. Who's a better guard, everybody? Bob Cousy or LeBron James?
No, I don't know.
Why not? You seem to know all the other stuff as to who's better. The point is you can't do it. Bob Cousy's got championships at the wazoo. I mean, yeah, so.
Well, I'll just say this. In this era, LeBron James is obviously incredibly dominating.
He's a great player. But how?
But I still think like Michael Jordan probably would be considered the best of all time.
Why? So. Let's do it.
Because of really it boils down to championships.
Then it has nothing to do with individual. This is my whole point. When you try to do individual comparisons, and then you're going to go into team championships, you're comparing apples to oranges.
Well, but that's part of
LeBron James is playing with Della Vadova, trying to win championships. The guy that
right.
And Jordan's playing with Scottie Pippen and Kukoc, and
right.
he's got players at the
absolutely.
But they're different. How would you not? Do you think LeBron James, if he was on a different team, wouldn't win more? If he was on the Golden State Warriors, you think he'd have a pretty good resume of winning championships?
Yeah,
well, that's my point.
They probably would have had 7 in a row if he was on that team.
But he's the same player he is. But now he's playing with so.
Well, I mean, I understand the team concept, but I also think that there is that dominating player, and Michael Jordan was a dominating player.
So was LeBron.
Yeah.
But they're not. So was you want to?
Babe Ruth.
You want to talk about dominating? Try to stop Wilt when he's got the ball under the basket, or Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. And they won championships.
They didn't. Their teams did.
Well, they were on teams that won championships.
Okay. All right. So I didn't think.
Hey, you look at Ted Williams.
I love him.
He's a dominating player. Never won a championship.
I thought Ted Williams was the best hitter I ever saw, but I can't say he's the greatest hitter of all time. I can't make that comparison, but I can say for players I saw,
right,
I thought he was the best.
Well, he's before my time.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, I'm obviously older than you.
I look at Sports Reference, Baseball Reference, and I would say that he's in the top 5.
He was good. Well, you're looking at
of
stats.
all time. Yeah.
You're
well,
stats.
That's all you can.
Well, no, you can do more than that. You can look at the guy play ball.
Well,
I think Stan Musial.
Yeah, there you go.
He was, but he's not as good to me. I watched Stan Musial play probably 50 games. I saw Ted Williams play probably 50 games on TV and stuff, and there's no comparison as to who's a better hitter. Williams not only hit for as good, if not a better average than Musial.
Right.
He had more power than
True.
Stan. So to me.
But who has more rings? Because I believe Stan Musial won.
Stan Musial won. No, okay. Like I said, now you're talking about 1 out of 28 guys instead of 1 out of 5.
I will tell you this: the Ted Williams transcended winning championships.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you a guy who didn't. Carl Yastrzemski. Now he's famous in Boston.
Oh, he's very famous.
Nobody knows him outside of Boston.
No, that's right.
And if he had won a couple of championships, you'd be like talking Carl Yastrzemski because he's a great player.
This is the 50th anniversary of what for Carl Yastrzemski?
I don't know.
Last time anybody ever won a Triple Crown.
Okay.
And what did he bat?
Yeah, I think it was 301.
He batted 300.
Yeah.
I think 301 maybe.
Right.
But see, you catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, that was I think because that was 68.
67 or 68. Yeah.
Because I think and then the next year they lowered the mound.
To get some guys to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
you had that era right there, the 60s, where pitchers were dominating, and they lowered the mound.
Bob Gibson.
Oh yeah.
Sandy Koufax. But no, that's interesting stuff. See, those are fun discussions.
Yeah.
Whether I'm right, which I am in this case, or whether it's always good to have a conversation with somebody.
I want to do a little Mets talk.
I'm ready for Mets.
Right.
I'll tell you what.
Jacob deGrom.
You want to carry it over, or do you want? Okay,
I'll do it until
we'll do it until we're cut off.
Jacob deGrom,
great pitcher,
just won his 6th straight.
Yes.
He's now 10-3.
Good pitcher,
and he's won the 6th straight victory after taking John Smoltz's advice of throwing 2 times in between each start.
Now, do you think that that's advice that every pitcher should use?
Well, maybe DeGrom is a different kind of pitcher.
That's my point.
But
I don't
all
know.
of a sudden, he's won 6 straight by just employing that one thing. Now is throwing 2 times. Where there was an article, and I posted it on our Facebook page, where none of the other Mets pitchers are embracing this, even though his ERA is like, over this 6 is like 1.2. He had a bad outing, still won the game and pitched.
What you mean last night?
No, last night
he was dominant.
It was 2 games ago.
Yeah, he gave 4 runs in 7 innings.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
no walks though. He didn't walk anybody.
Right, and only 5 strikeouts. But it was 4. He gives up 4 runs. That's a bad outing for It's like, but so, and I do want to say with the Mets, now all of their players are hitting over 200. Reyes, Granderson, and Darno, all of.
Oh, okay. Way to jump on them after a 14 run out, but let's take a look. I've got. I know you're talking. As you all folks may all be aware, Greg is a huge Mets apologist. And Conforto, their all-stars, batting .288.
Yeah.
Cabrera ripping the coverall of the ball at .253. Cespedes going 4 out of 6 to skyrocket his average up to .280.
Yeah.
Rivera, who nobody's ever heard of, is hitting .300.
Right.
But Bruce, 1 for 5, hitting .265 with the obligatory 2 strikeouts. Reyes had 3 hits to jack his average up to the big .221.
Yeah.
And Granderson pinch hitting and not doing anything, but still batting .232 and collecting a freaking king's ransom.
Right.
So there's your Mets. And where's Neil Walker? I want to know what happened to Neil Walker.
This was probably his last year on the Mets.
I darn sure it will be.
All right.
But I'll bet the Pirates want him back, and that would be dumb.
Okay. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. The voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and they're located in Fruitland Park, and so you should go there, and we'll be right back after these messages. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, and we transitioned back to baseball, but I'm going to transition somewhere else.
Go. I'm ready for you.
Well, your buddy Jaromir Jagr is without a job.
I know.
Well,
I can't understand why nobody want to throw big money at a 45-year-old.
Well, would it take big money, or is he going?
I would imagine.
Or is he going to retire?
I think he'd like to play one more year. He is now. If you are a stat guy, and obviously sometimes you are, he is the second greatest hockey player of all time. Behind Wayne Gretzky.
Well, they never played each other. Well, they did actually because
he played against Wayne Gretzky. He did. The fact that, but Gretzky, if you're talking about statistics, Jagr has more, and Jagr took 2 years off to go back and play in Czechoslovakia. He still wouldn't be near Gretzky, but he's now second all time in points.
Yeah.
So, but there's a perfect example of a guy. He's still a util player. I mean, he's 46 points.
Yeah.
He'll score 15 to 20 goals. He's got a big rear end. Nobody can move him.
Right.
When he's in front of the goal, you can't do anything to him. He's just,
I noticed watching him this past season that he didn't look like a 45-year-old.
No.
Plus,
he knows how to play. He's smart.
Yeah.
He knows where to go, where to be when things happen.
So
somebody will sign.
In fact, you're holding up, or you've got the Daily Sun in front of you.
Yes.
You have an article about him.
Yeah.
And the guy suggests, the author of that article suggests that he should sign, or Pittsburgh should sign.
Why?
Him. Well, because he started his career there.
Is that a reason to sign somebody?
Yeah.
I think it's no sign. So, in other words, you think what crummy baseball player started his career with the Mets?
I don't think Jaromir Jagr's a crummy player, though.
No,
I kind of agree with what the guy wrote in the article. I think Pittsburgh could get some use out of him.
Why? They won the world. They won the two-time national without losing many players.
No, and
why would they break? Why would they break up the chemistry to put some 46-year-old guy in there?
Because I'm afraid the Rangers will probably sign him again. So
somebody will.
That's why I'm hoping Pittsburgh will do it. So the stupid Rangers.
I think one of the good teams will sign him to. There's Ralphie. Ralphie checking in.
Ralphie's
all right.
in the house.
All right. That's what we like to see. The fact of the matter is that you tell me what a 45-year-old guy is going to bring to the Penguins.
Leadership. No, I don't know.
I don't know what they need. I mean,
the
fact of the matter is, I think he's a good player, and he can help somebody.
Well,
I don't see, just because he started his career with Pittsburgh, I mean, what is it, come full circle? Is that what we have to do now? We have to end with who we started with?
You are a cold-hearted.
I am a cold-hearted. You know what? I got to remember that. That's why the Pirates need Bill Walker back.
That's right.
He's got to come back to where he started.
Yeah.
But no, okay, I like the idea. But not enough about Jaromir Jagr. But the fact of the matter is, yes, one of the contending teams, and there's plenty out there.
And
we'll take them.
And kind of that's the point of his article. It's like there's no point in going to when you're at that age, even though he's won. What did he only win the Stanley Cups with the?
No,
Pittsburgh.
He won the Stanley Cups. He won one with the Devils. Okay. He won one with. Flyer. He won.
Flyers haven't won in 50 years.
No, that's right. But no, he won with the Devils.
Right.
And I thought somebody else.
Yeah, he's been on every team.
Did he play on the Blackhawks? No, he didn't play on the Blackhawks. Did he play on Anaheim? I can't remember.
I don't know.
No.
But anyway,
something to look up. So we're talking about him, right?
But anyway, the thing is, he probably would only want to go to a team that has a shot at winning the Stanley Cup. That's why Pittsburgh.
Isn't that what all ex-superstars want to do?
Yes.
I just want to go out on top so people can talk about me. I don't think Pittsburgh has a need for him, but if they need a decent power play forward who can skate still, not fast, but he can't knock him off his skates, and has some hockey smarts, then hey, watch the minute I say this, Pittsburgh will sign him to a 2-year deal or something. But that's interesting. I don't know.
Well, if he's looking for a 2-year deal, I don't think anybody's going to. No,
that would be tough. That would be really tough. So no, but that's a good point, and isn't that amazing? But you saw what happened with Cologne. I mean, eventually, no matter how good you are for how long you are, once a lot of the players, when they're that age and they lose it, it's gone.
Right.
And they're not going to get it back.
Were you going to talk about Cologne?
Yeah, Bartolo
Cologne.
Yeah.
Well, he apparently
is he signed?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee.
Good.
They sent him to the minors, but they signed him. But the Mets, apparently he made a phone call. He would play for the minimum for the Mets, and they didn't return his call. And he was a little mad because he said he had a lot of friends on that team, and none of his friends even tried to lobby for him to be on the Mets.
That's the Mets' way of saying we don't want him.
Right.
If they wanted him, guess what?
He'd be on the Mets.
He'd be signed. He would have signed. They would have offered him a contract.
Yeah, and I guess
they've got younger pitchers that they want to try.
Yeah, and they're all. I guess they're all ready to come back. All the ones that are injured are going to come back.
Well, you get Wheeler and Harvey. Once everybody comes back, Syndergaard. I mean,
I guess the two Syndergaard is close to coming back.
Matt's pitching well. DeGrom's obviously pitching well.
Right.
Good grief. Why would they need Bartolo?
No, but he said he was prepared to go in the bullpen as well. So that they could have used.
But I don't know if he's going to come in and shut you down in the ninth inning. I don't.
He might be one of those guys that would be great for when the Mets are losing 12-2. So.
Well, if he was like Dickey, if he had a knuckleball that came and went,
right,
and he had a chance to make it come back, I just have a feeling he doesn't have the stuff he needs. But I might be wrong.
So the Yankees are in a mess. They're in a free fall.
But that's not. And truthfully, they really ran into some tough injuries.
So without looking down at the paper, who is the number one wild card team at the moment?
For whom? For what?
The American League.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Don't look at your stupid paper.
I know.
They're good. No, they've got some a good blend of young players and some decent pitchers.
Right.
And they're good enough to just not make it.
Well, I'll tell you what, looking at the rest of the league, I actually think it'll be the Yankees in Tampa Bay.
I think it'll be the Yankees and probably Kansas City.
Yeah, well, I'll still stick with Tampa Bay.
Well, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
And you know what? I hope they make it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But,
I've had enough of Kansas City.
Well, I
don't even like their barbecue sauce.
I'll tell you what, and we've talked about this before, and I do want to touch base on this, because it's not hypocrisy, but it's just not being honest. And I want to talk about Jose Fernandez.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, to wear a guy's number as a patch on your shirt for the year,
right,
and on your shoes, and to erect a statue. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Erect a statue to him. The guy's up for vehicular homicide.
Yeah.
His estate.
Yeah.
Is he killed somebody because he was on drugs. But nobody seems to want to talk about that.
Right.
They just, we miss him because he made the All-Star team twice. Well, okay, but this is the height of irresponsibility.
Right.
Okay, you're young. I get that. But let's not, do we have to enshrine somebody who, because of his negligence, had 2 other people killed?
Yeah.
And I know that's and that may not be the politically correct thing to say, and we're not talking because of his national. He was a great pitcher. Don't get me wrong. I watched him pitch. I said, "Boy, that guy's got a lot of nice stuff," but you don't celebrate somebody who looks like now maybe because it hasn't been. Has the finding come down, or are they still investigating?
Oh, in what? Well,
I mean, is his estate up? Is he being sued for vehicular homicide?
I don't know if they've actually
done it yet.
But they will be.
Then I can see,
because all the toxicology reports have come back. And,
and he was high and he was drunk. Yeah. And the fact is, but he's also young, and you can't expect a young guy to look. He took a boat out and hit a jetty at 3:00 in the morning, drunk with two people. One was a teammate, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I mean, I think it's tragic, but I don't see that we should reward it.
Yeah.
I agree. I get chills thinking, I don't. We have to congratulate him.
What message does this send to? And I'm not even going to say youth. What message does this send to other ball players?
Well, I don't. Maybe they don't even listen to the message. I don't know. But
you're
right.
Like you're gonna lionize a guy for.
That's what they did. Greg, that's pure and simple what they did. They took a guy, played 2 years. Okay, I don't mind. So he's a future Hall of Famer, quote, quote. The fact of the matter is, he killed people. It looks like because of his negligence.
Right.
If I know he was young, but he was old enough to get coked up, drunk up, and get in a boat and wreck it and kill people.
Right.
So he was old enough to do something.
Yeah.
But let's put a statue up. What do? Take it down if he loses the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Or do you keep it up and say, well, here's the guy that was responsible for 2 other people's deaths.
Right.
But he was a good pitcher for a couple of years. But really?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's where we are with that, and that really eats at me.
Tom Seaver doesn't even have a statue in front of City Field.
But like I said, it was the whole idea of trying to they're trying to placate some group. I
don't get it. What the drug dealers in South America or something?
What does it take?
I mean,
but it's not going to be reversed. And but I don't understand. To me, it's the equivalent of right now going out and building a statue to O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
He's got his accolades. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
They're not taking. But what have we not learned?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Didn't even the Heisman organization talk about taking his?
But they did.
I know, but they talked about it.
Yes, they talked about it. Yeah.
And so, but here's a, ownership that's going to build, create a statue for him and all this stuff.
I think they would have. If he had been found guilty, I think they would have taken or rescinded the trophy.
Right.
But he wasn't.
Yeah.
So they stay with it. And like I said, this kid may be found not guilty.
Right.
I don't see how, but he might be. I'm not going to play judge and jury.
Well,
I'm just saying,
that's a different thing. But the fact of the matter is, getting back to the toxology report.
Yeah, toxicology.
Toxicology report. He was high. He was drunk. You know. So there's no refuting that.
And he was driving the boat.
Right.
Now,
So
beyond that,
who knows where a jury or however that's going to be done is going to go. But the facts are the facts. And,
but the fact of the matter is, in a year, say he's found guilty, and say his estate is sued by the other families.
Right.
You're still going to enshrine him? You're still going to put his?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it almost then becomes laughable. Here's a guy that lost all the money in his estate because he got high and crashed a boat and killed people.
Right.
But we're going to erect a statue to him.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing. He was a good pitcher for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the best I got on him.
And we had talked about this before. I will tell you, and I'll say this again: if he didn't die, and this incident never happened, and he blew out his elbow and never pitched again, you wouldn't even remember his name.
No, they wouldn't. You're right. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. But the fact that he died, all of a sudden makes him larger than life.
Yeah.
Not trying to be funny, but the fact of the matter is that I just find it those type of things. They're feel-good stories without anybody thinking.
Because I'll do a little compare and contrast. You have Harvey in the Mets, who was talked about as a future Hall of Famer and all this stuff, and now he's had a lot of physical problems. If he's out of baseball in a year from now, you
won't see any plaques to Matt Harvey.
You won't see anything.
He'll be remembered as the guy that talked Terry Collins out of winning a ball game.
I don't even think you would remember him for that.
No, that might be, but that'd be the only thing he'd be talking.
Yeah,
but it's true. So, I mean, and I know we had a problem last week. I'm looking at the clock. We're on. Okay,
James got us all.
That's fantastic. So, like I said, as we're going to be wrapping up, I hate to end on that story, but the fact is, our job is to just bring up things. I'm not trying. It's not a feel-good story, but it's a legitimate question that I'd like to raise.
All right.
Why?
Yeah. All right. So we'll end on a different subject.
Sure.
The ESPN magazine Body Issues they've been putting out. Have you seen any of this stuff? Okay. So what
mean best bodies is that type of thing?
What they've been doing is they've been taking pictures of naked athletes and putting it on the cover. You know, they're like got their arm.
That's where we are.
Yeah. Yep. And I just thought, to me, it was just like, oh my God. And you know, they do have men athletes, which, you know, I guess appeals to somebody I don't really care to see any.
Yeah.
But they have the women, and I actually feel bad, you know, for a woman that thinks she has to do that, because I don't really get anything. I don't go, oh my goodness.
But it's money. It's pure and simple.
ESPN is floundering. What are they giving them? $1,000?
Oh no, more than that. I think I'd be giving
$5,000.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean,
but the point
is,
20,000.
You're going to do that for $20,000?
Sure. Well, because nobody there is thinking about what the ramifications of what they're doing is. So but I didn't realize that. But that to me, but that's where we are as a society now.
Apparently your
marketing.
Your girl was Nikki was the tennis player.
Tennis player.
You always talk about her. What was Nikki? What's the last? What?
Gabriella Sabatini. I'm
trying to think. No. Right, she plays right now.
Oh, the one that just won Wimbledon.
Yeah, what's her name?
Gabriela Muguruza.
No, not her. Well, anyway, she's got a lot of exposure on one of their issues.
All right, well, hot diggity dog. So, but you know that's where we are, folks. It's not about winning or losing the game. It's about the action behind the game.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to us
so
here on WQBQ 1410.
See you next week.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it again. And Ralph is coming up next with River Jordan and Friends. And we will see you next week here on WQBQ 1410. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And again, we thank you for listening, and we will see you next week, and everybody have a great weekend.